Today is my birthday, and I did not expect to wake up to feeding tube pain and issues and explosions. Not where I want to spend my birthday. Good Thursday morning, everyone. I had a rude awakening this morning. I didn't sleep well because the pain in my G-tube stoma just kept getting worse. And then I did eventually fall asleep, and when I woke up this morning, there was this explosion of discharge, which I thought had come from my stoma, and some of it very well probably came from my stoma, but after I had cleaned everything up and inspected it, it had actually come from my incision that was made to place my J-tube stoma. I think something is not quite right. I am not panicking over anything, but I wanted to let y'all take a look and just show you what I am dealing with, because I like to bring you along on the ups and downs of my health journey. And this may be uncomfortable to some people because it's not exactly pretty, so read the text below if you would like to skip this part. Okay, so for those of y'all who are new or just need to be caught up again, this is my G-tube. I use it for venting excess stomach acid and trapped air from my stomach that I can't regulate properly due to my gastroparesis. This is my J-tube. It goes to my jejunum, a part of the small intestine. That is where I run my nutrition and certain medications so my body can properly absorb and digest it, and I can get adequate nutrition. Nowadays, my J-tube really doesn't give me much pain unless I do a lot of movement, and it does give me those spasms sometimes still. Like sometimes if I'm pushing meds and I push too fast, like I get a spasm, or it just happens randomly, but they're slowly decreasing in frequency over time, which is awesome. This is my G-tube. It should not look like that. The discoloration in the tube is fine. It's because I vent stomach acid, but like, okay, this red part, that is granulation tissue. It's like raw, irritated tissue. It is a common problem with feeding tube stomas, although it is annoying and painful. I have been treating it with this Bordeaux's butt paste. It is a diaper cream, but it works rather well for me in the past. But it's not quite doing the trick for this, but I'm gonna keep at it. That's why there's some white paste there, that's fine. It's also, you can see, way too long. It should not be that far from the skin. Like, this is a good distance from the skin, this is not, but bad part is I cannot rotate it or push it in. It's like stuck there, and that worries me because I don't know if y'all can tell on camera, but I feel a bulge here, and I'm worried that the bumper is starting to embed itself into my abdominal lining. It's something called buried bumper syndrome, but that, I have heard, is extremely painful, and while this does cause a lot of pain, it doesn't seem to be painful enough for buried bumper syndrome, although maybe it's just starting to become buried. But it's too painful to just be that little bit of granulation tissue. However, there can be granulation tissue on the inside of the stoma that you can't see, so it's really hard to know exactly what's going on. And then I thought I was having normal discharge from my G-tube this morning when I had like that explosion, but I don't know if y'all can see. There's this little hole at the top of my incision, and a lot of discharge was coming out of that. I'm not too sure that's supposed to happen. The rest of the incision looks good, but that little hole, that concerns me a bit. So for my G-tube on the granulation tissue, I'm putting this, something I use for granulation tissue that works really well, except this time, the granulation tissue is being extra tricky. Then I put on the tubey pad. For my J-tube, I've already cleaned it with soap and water and then dried it. I like to use witch hazel when there's granulation tissue present. It works well for me. And I just apply a little bit under the bumper. Then I take a dry gauze and I'll put a piece of tape here and I'm good to go. That is my care routine. Make sure you always talk with your physician about what you should be doing. So obviously there is quite a bit going on. I cannot flush water through my G-tube because it hurts too much. It's not venting well, so I'm vomiting more, and my granulation tissue suddenly got a lot worse. And if you don't know the nature of feeding tubes, even if you do everything right, complications can still arise. I need to get in to see my surgeon, but the number one priority is to change this G-tube for one that suddenly got dark. For one that is the correct size, because for whatever reason, my size has changed. I need a shorter one. So my doctors are currently trying to arrange those appointments and procedures for me, and I will keep y'all updated. Though, you know, what's annoying about this, and there are many annoying things about this, but in particular, today is my birthday, and I did not expect to wake up to feeding tube pain and issues and explosions. But regardless, I am 22 today, and I am so thankful for another year of fun and blessings. And tomorrow, Judd and I are going to Orlando for a family dinner at Downtown Disney. I am so excited. I'm gonna spend the weekend with Janice, just chilling and having fun. And you know, I've got a plan in the process with my doctors. I will manage. And right now, I have got to take my midterm exams, so I will see y'all later. Hey y'all, well, allow me to update you. I took my midterm exam and I did well. Very happy about that. I unfortunately ended up in the ER because I talked with my doctors and I see my surgeon on the 8th, and my GI has arranged for me to get my feeding tube exchanged on the 13th. We are trying to get it done sooner, but just scheduling with the hospital, that is the soonest they could do as of now. They are still working on it for me. And we agreed it would be good to go to an urgent care so a medical professional could look at everything and say, it looks infected, and if so, get started on antibiotics to hold me over. But urgent care wouldn't see me. They sent us to the ER, which is where we are now. Thankfully, the ER doctor does not think anything is infected, but the G-tube is quite concerning. He wants to do a dye study, which is where you inject contrast through the G-tube and take a series of x-rays. But in order to do that, we need the extension tubing for my G-tube button, and that was left at home. My mom went home to grab some. I have no idea why we didn't think to bring it with us. We didn't expect to be here tonight, you know, so that's why. And when my mom gets back, we are gonna do that test. Really hoping it shows that nothing prominent or abnormal, like hoping it shows that we're able to go home tonight. All of the big x-ray machines with the contrast and stuff are outside that door, but we're just waiting for my mom to bring the extension tubing so we can actually inject it into my tube. So my mom is the hero bringing the extension tubing. This is how I feel about life. Like this monkey holding on to the branch, like, yeah, I got this, nonchalant. Little does he know, his branch is about to fall off. Look at this. Look at this. But he's just chill. I feel like that's me in most parts of life. And then who's this guy over here? Like, looking the other way at his doom. No, that's gotta be Janice. And that's me. We're all oh my gosh, I always do this. Animals now. Animals now. We're all animals now. Typical Janice side-eyeing my adventure, willing to take the risk. If it seems like I'm feeling a little funny tonight, that is because when the doctor was originally maneuvering my tubes around, I was freaking out a bit because one, I am quite anal about who touches my tubes, and also it hurts a lot. And of course I freaked out. So the doctor said it would be good to calm me down. So they gave me some calm down medicines. I just hope it keeps me calmed down enough for the dye study when they're gonna be moving around my tubes and pushing contrast through and stuff like that. But anyway, at the end of it, I just hope they say you're good to go. A lot of hospital noises. I just want to get out of here because this is not where I want to spend my birthday. I just gotta keep it together. Keep moving forward. When I start to get stressed, I just look down there and I see her gazing up at me. We got this. Right? We got this. We got this. We got this. I know, there's so many cables everywhere. You're being so good, so brilliant. Thank you for being so strong and helping me through this, Hippo. I love you. We are back after a long night. Harlow is knocked out and fully enjoying her puppy dreams. You deserve it, Hippo. Enjoy all the sleep you want. Wow, I am exhausted. Long night. It is almost officially not my birthday anymore. Not the greatest birthday, but that doesn't mean we can't celebrate my birthday another time and have a fabulous celebration when my health is doing better. We had something planned for this weekend, and a few people have been asking me if we're still gonna do it, and honestly, I am just not in a position to make decisions. All I know is that right now my doctors are working on a game plan, and I am tired. What came from the testing at the ER, it was inconclusive, but they told me because it hurts terribly to flush water and it is not venting well and you cannot rotate the tube or move it in and out, those are not good signs, and they recommend changing this one out for a size that is more appropriate as soon as possible, which is why we believe that the 13th is too far to wait. A huge shout out to Supermom, who was there for everything, and a shout out to Super Husband, who wasn't there physically but stayed in contact the whole time. Basically just to all of my loved ones and supporters who encourage us through all of the difficult trials. Tomorrow morning I will be calling my doctors to come up with the best game plan we can. I'll continue to take care of my feeding tubes the best way I know how, and you know, even though I do everything right with my tubes, things can still go wrong because chronic illness is not always fair. I mean, why did this have to happen on my birthday of all days? Honestly, when stuff like this happens, I feel like it makes me more resilient and it drives me more to keep moving forward. And we may not have been able to celebrate today, or we may not even be able to celebrate this weekend. We don't know yet what's going to happen, but eventually we will find a time to celebrate, and it will be wonderful. Because even in a life of chaos, there are so many wonderful, fun blessings to acknowledge and be thankful for. But right now, I'm exhausted, and I think it's pretty obvious that I am exhausted. So with that, I will say goodnight, and thanks for joining us on our